Hi, it is Dina again. I know we said we were going to do this every week or so. However, after my friend whose reading we did early this morning, late last night, whatever, after he watched it, he had a lot of questions and some follow-ups, and I thought about things too, and I just kind of thought that it would be good to kind of do it a second time. I don't really like asking the cards questions repeatedly, however, I do it a lot. But in this case, what kind of struck me was even though I smudged the cards with sage, I got a lot of the card combinations that came up, the way they came up, the positions they came up in, were cards that I've been drawing a lot for myself using that same deck. And I just kind of feel like it's been a long time since I did readings for other people. And when I used to do them, I always had a separate deck that I would use just for, other people, mostly because I knew they would be touching them. And this was remote, so it didn't even really occur to me to use a different deck, but that is the deck I use most often, is the one I used yesterday. So it is quite possible that it really just had that much of my energy on it that I'm getting cards that I would have got for myself. So I want to start out just by doing a second reading asking the same question. I do think that if yesterday's reading was correct, that it was more positive maybe than I kind of made it seem last night. And that is something that I want to touch on briefly. One thing that my friend said, and a question that he had, one thing that he said other than making fun of my hair, jerk, which is not why it's in a ponytail today, Daniel, it's just dirty. One of the things that, I kind of felt like I was being a negative Nelly, sort of. He was like, well, why can't this just mean love? And it absolutely could. I hate that when people are constantly, looking for the worst in things, and I really try not to do that. That said, I don't read reversals. So what that means in non-tarot gibberish is I don't shuffle the cards up all willy-nilly, and I don't, my cards are always upright. If something comes up upside down in a reading that I do, that's major to me, and I don't know how it happened, and I pay super close attention to the fact that it's upside down, but if it happens once a year, that's a lot. So what that means, being I don't shuffle like that and I don't read like that, is that I have to look at both the positive and the negative interpretations of what the card could be. And I have to look at the surrounding cards to kind of guide me into whether or not I should be using the positive or the negative. And so last night, everything looked really positive, but none of it really seemed to me like it was relevant to his situation, and that's what I was really stuck on. It seemed like a romantic spread and not a situational spread like we were asking about. And I have been just in my personal life in like a little bit of a weird up and down romantic-y thing that isn't really very romantic anymore. But like I've been asking a lot of questions about it, and they're the same cards that I have been getting. So I just first off want to make sure that we're on the right track, and if we are, then we can ask a question to clarify, to see, to make sure that it is as positive as we think. And what I mean by every card having a positive and a negative, the Ace of Cups is pretty positive. I mean, there's not much bad to be found there, but some cards it's more than others. Like you take a card like the Tower, for example, and it could mean you're walking across the street and you meet a man who knocks your socks off and hits you like a bolt of lightning, and you fall in love at first sight. Or it could be you're walking across the street and a bus hits you and knocks your socks off. Like it could be good or bad. And there's tiers to it. And some of the more mundane cards and the minor arcana they're not going to be like life altering. They're not going to be that big of a deal. But some of the majors are. It's the same way death can mean, something's ending, or it can, and that end can be good or bad. It just depends, So. And sometimes it just means the start of a new cycle. Like it's all open to interpretation, basically. So I'm using a different deck today. It's a deck that I do not use much. It's not my favorite. It's a nice deck. The box is really nice. It's the Santa Muerte, so it's the Day of the Dead tarot, actually, or the Book of the Dead, rather, tarot. And I do like it. I just, not my favorite. It's not something I use all the time, but I saved you the trouble of watching me smudge them today. So, just gonna shuffle. And I'm going to be more precise in my questioning today too. I'm not going to say what is the outcome going to mean to him. I'm not saying that. I'm going to say how is his hearing going to go in June? We want to see really the factors surrounding it and the outcome of it, of the hearing itself. We're going to be as least amount of ambiguity as possible in our question today, because I think I may have foiled us at the end on my last little shuffle there last time. How is parole hearing going to go? Is the outcome of it is all the way in June, so much can change by then, obviously, and I will do a video or a post about that at some point, about why that is the case, or why I believe it is the case. Obviously, if I was omniscient, this is the last thing I would be doing. All right. These are all upside down. See what I did? I jinxed us. We're just going to turn them right side up because they're all upside down. All right. Well, that's a good card. So our first card is the Star. Nothing looks like a good card in this deck for the most part, but that one is. So the Star really represents hope. So that's a nice start. All right. More reasonable. All right, so this to me seems like a more appropriate reading for the question that we wanted to ask in the first stinking place. So I'm going to show it to you, and then I will go try to reposition my phone and prop it back up where I had it. I hope you can see this. Can you see this? I don't know. Yeah. All right, so basically what this scenario is here, the cards representing the hearing and the situation itself. Stinker. Okay. Are the Star. So we're hopeful going into it, but that's just a good energy to have through the whole thing. And the Tower, which I mentioned earlier. The Tower is like Tower of Babel shit, like all your, just knocks all your shit down. I mean, it can relate to more mundane levels. Like if you do like a daily drawing, like a card of the day, or like what's my week gonna be like, and you get the Tower, it doesn't mean anything like horrifying. It could just be like, it could be an orgasm. You could get an fender bender. You could get in a fight with someone. I mean, who knows? I guess it's all it's all relative. Positives and negatives too, so anyway, so that makes sense, right? Like he was kind of like, as I said yesterday, like railroaded. It was a really kind of shocking scenario. They really thought he was going to get out last time too, in his last hearing where he was denied. So I kind of like the combination of the Star and the Tower, explaining the situation that we're in currently, and also we're working in the environment. The Fool is that card, which is really, it is like a lot like drawing an ace, but it's like, we're asking really, is he going to get a new start? Is he getting out? Is he going to be free? And I think of the Fool very much as a freedom card. So it's interesting that that's all at play. I mean, there's not a ton of information here. We do see our Eight of Swords that we talked about last time, which is the Prison card. I like the fact that this showed up somewhere. It's kind of showing really, again, sort of his environment that he's in, some other factors. You know, maybe it could be representative of the prison system here, because this position where it came up in is like people outside who are influencing things. So this time our outcomes are 2 knights. Knights are movement. So I like that very much. And they're hard to read in outcome positions. Sometimes they can represent a person, and you know, a person who is in some way going to be pivotal to that, to the outcome. But typically, for me anyway, I tend to see them more as just movement. So short term, we have the Knight of Pentacles. It could be like someone who helps him with. It could definitely be someone who helps him get, you know, his parole on track or something like that. And my friend is a Taurus, and Pentacles are earth signs, so that's a possibility. But I'm more inclined to say, like, short term, it's just like a slow and steady progress, not much is happening, and we're just kind of like, you know, but ultimately, like, the fact that there's the 2 positions that tell us where things are going are both knights, I think is a good sign. The Knight of Wands is the outcome. He's all fiery and fury, and he likes to take off, and in this card, he's riding an awesome horse carcass. I love that. But yeah, so I think this is a more appropriate outcome. I feel better saying that this is positive, to be honest. Again, though, it's so far in the future. It's 7 months away. So tarot card readings are really hard, other than your most pivotal life events, I would say, to get anything at all concrete more than like maybe 3 months, 4 months. And you figure it's like there's this cosmic soup of probability, and one stream is what actualizes. You know, there's, you know, a bajillion things that could happen between now and the day he goes into that parole hearing. And I know that twice the judges were female who actually denied his hearing, and in the crossing position is the High Priestess, which I mean, I you know, obviously as someone who does stuff like this, I love this card, but I mean, you know, it could be a woman who feels very, I mean, both women who denied his parole previously felt very strongly that they were doing the right thing. You know, again, everything's relative, so so you never know, but I do think this is a positive reading, and I think it's more, it shows movement and freedom more than just talking about love. That's what I found very confusing last time, that it was all about love. And my friend was like, well, maybe it just means that we're gonna really fall in love when he gets out of jail. And it's like, totally. I mean, I hope that happens, and it totally could. But that's really not, I feel like that's a different question. And along those lines, he wants me to kind of ask about what this fellow's real feelings are for him. Iffy territory, because I mean, technically I'm asking about this other guy. So, I mean, if he doesn't, you know, I don't really have his consent to ask, you know? So, but, I mean, do we ever? So we're just gonna ask, just so we can wrap this up. We want to see what his feelings really are. We basically want to see if it's possible that they are so strong at this point, even though they have not seen each other in a non-visitation capacity for quite a long time at this point. We want to see if his feelings are, and they were not romantic when he went into prison. There's your catch. We want to see if his feelings are really that strong that they could have dominated that other prison reading that much to make it look like a love reading. or at the very least, we want to see if his feelings are really honest and true, and if he really is feeling the way that he says he is. I will say that my friend's chart looks really good coming up astrologically for the summer, and I see some kind of pivotal love stuff in there, so I'm optimistic, but I am an optimist. What are his feelings and what are his real intentions towards my friend? Well, the Ace of Pentacles and the Nine of Pentacles. Ace of Cups. Iffy. Short term looks really good. Ace of Cups. Hey, that was our outcome last time. I have a post I want to do on probability, actually, because odds are very slim of getting things in the same position multiple times. So I do like that that showed up here. I think this reading makes sense. He's planning on starting out fresh, leaving behind this situation of leaving the Five of Pentacles behind, which is basically it's poverty, and my friend does have money, so that's a factor. But also, I mean, it's also a poverty mentality, a poverty of spirit, one would say. Sometimes I even think of it as depression. I have a friend I get this card for a lot, and I think he's very depressed. This is a really interesting image on this card. Maybe I haven't paid enough attention to this deck before. It's like he's stepping on this guy's head, so that's really cool. So I do think this makes a lot of sense. And hanging over the whole thing is the Hangman, a very uncertain aspect, a time of kind of reflection and thinking. The final card, though, in this is the Page of Swords. That's not a really feelingsy card. Pages are messengers, and I mean, at least it might mean there's like great communication. It's tough to tell. I mean, with the Ace of Cups and the Page of Swords together, I definitely see a lot of communication and the potential for something new. Pages are young. And this guy is a lot younger than my friend. So it is entirely possible that that's what this is representing. It's also possible that it is representing something that is primarily intended to be a correspondence relationship more than anything actualized in real life. I don't love seeing a sword card. I don't love seeing the Page of Swords as the final outcome. This guy is literally writing a letter. I mean, he's actually writing a letter. He doesn't have, I mean, that doesn't even happen that often. So he's actually, and right now, I mean, they talk primarily over email, over the phone. I don't think they can text. So I think it's not, I don't see anything negative. I don't think he has any ill intentions, and I don't think he plans on taking, I don't think there's any advantage being taken. But I think the potential is there, but it looks to me more like he just really likes having someone to talk to and communicate with. And I can't swear that it's gonna go anywhere lasting or serious beyond that. That's what we have for today. So I think we cleared some stuff up, some positive, some negative. This was longer. I was rushing last night just because, I don't know, I didn't know if you wanted to watch all of this. I mean, how many of you are there? 4? I promised I would always have wine. I won't always have wine because sometimes I'll do this in the morning and it'll be coffee instead. But yeah. So that's what we have for today. I'm gonna try to make this a regular thing. Like I said, tweet me at The Little Widow, and on Instagram you can follow me at The Littlest Widow, and obviously the blog and website is littlewidow.com. Hit me up with your questions, and because I will be doing readings for other people on here, pretty much at least once a week. So, all right, thank you. Have a nice night.